Like I've literally been threatened and insulted and mocked and lied about constantly on Twitter, and it doesn't, like, it's like I'm just used to it. Like it's like you're just, this is how Twitter is.
This
You can
is
block
this is
people
being
if
a
you
woman
want,
on Twitter.
like,
Yes.
I just, I
Yes.
mean, who cares? I don't care. Like, these
I don't
people,
care.
like, there's some threats that I have actually been afraid of, and there's some individuals who I'm actually afraid of who seemed unhinged, but they're not like your random Twitter user who's like calling me a bitch or something. Like, I don't care. And so the notion that me discussing like biology or saying, one of the things that I was banned for was literally the statement, men are not women, though. It wasn't. Twitter keeps lying about this, and people and the media has lied about it also. They keep saying that I was saying that about a person, like that I was calling somebody who identified as a woman a man, but that I wasn't. I was just, it was a neutral statement as part of a thread, that, and it wasn't a response to a person. Like, I remember the whole conversation in detail, but I have all the screenshots on my computer. Like, I've looked at them a million times over to see if there's some way they could have been interpreted that way. And I was like, no, that's not what happened. I just said men aren't women, which is a true fact. Like, and that's supposedly like harmful to people or threatening to people, but it's okay to like send women like pornography and threaten them with rape and violence all the time. Like, it's like, if I can handle that, surely you can handle me saying men aren't women. Like, God, like, what a joke. And they don't feel threatened by it. No one actually feels threatened by it. They just want to shut us up.
Yes. And it works. I mean, it does work, because, people now, I mean, for me, I thought there's things I can do. I could stop this. If I want to keep my Twitter account and keep my friends and my network, I could stop saying what I'm saying. But honestly, the kind of the point of my Twitter account, I mean, the friends I made were great. But the point of my Twitter account was, in fact, to highlight the problems. And in fact, it's an interesting progression of what happened. My Twitter account to begin with was about feminism. And then as the years went on, I realized that, well, we all realized that feminism was virtually impossible to talk about, because there was this issue in the way. Who was allowed to talk about feminism? Who are the people who need feminism? And then it's gone even sort of one degree further now, sort of another order, which is now we're having to talk about, are we even allowed to talk about who is allowed to talk about feminism? It's the time and emotional energy that women are having to spend. It's quite a clever thing for men to have sort of hit on in order to try and sort of silence women.
Yes, totally. I mean, what I know is that if we let this stand, because even like I've seen like lots of feminists online, talking shit about me, like, oh, Megan's whining about this Twitter thing, so you got banned from Twitter, like, big deal, who cares? And it's like, it's not just about me being banned from Twitter. It's about so much more than that. And this is the end of feminism. Like, if we're not allowed to talk about these things, there's no such thing as feminism. It can't exist. It's not just women's sex-based rights can't exist. It's like, we literally cannot have a feminist movement if we're not allowed to talk about women's bodies and the differences between men and women, and talk about why, gender and sex aren't the same thing, and to name male predators. Like, yes. At the end of the day, what I was banned for was for naming a male predator who Twitter protected, a predator who was identifying with his male name and his male pronouns on social media. Like, they're lying when they're saying, oh, like I called him and he identified. It's like, nobody knew. Like, he was identifying as all sorts. He's not transition. Like, there's no possible way. That rule didn't exist when I was banned. There was no rule against misgendering or dead naming. So even if I had wanted to follow their rules, it would have been impossible for me to, because that rule didn't exist and I didn't know it was a rule. Like, I didn't know I was breaking a rule. They still haven't told me that's the rule that I broke. I've just read it in the media that that's the rule I broke. They just sent me this this like form response saying hateful conduct, and then
same with
this
me.
specific tweet, and I was like, what? Like, what is the hateful part of? I didn't say anything hateful. I referred to this person by name and with a male pronoun, which he was also doing online. Like,
yes,
I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Honestly,